let's start with some engaging tasks. Let's figure out how we can get students to engage with us. So in the chat, how do you gauge student engagement? How do you know students are engaging with you in an online environment? What are you looking for in that online environment that allows you to know your students are engaged? Responding in the chat, answering questions, making eye contact, cameras on. So many, we know what we're looking for. One of our reminders is often we forgot to tell students what engagement looks like in an online environment. We forgot. We assume they transfer their physical school experience to the distance learning experience. So let's let students know, here's what we look for in engagement. Here's how we know you're engaged. There's this really cool continuum of engagement. This published in March of 2020, Barry did this, and it talks about moving students further to the right so they can learn more. So if you have a student who's currently withdrawing and you move them to participating, they're learning more. But the goal is to get students all the way to the level of driving, all the way to driving their own learning. How can we do that? So we were talking about this a few weeks ago, and a fourth grade teacher here in San Diego said, I really like this. I want to teach my students the levels of engagement. I want my students to be thinking about this. So she created a bunch of Google slides. She had her students working in different teams. They were starting to come up with conversations. They presented to each other. I'll go through these pretty quickly. You'll have them if you want them. And her students said, this is what it looks like when we disrupt. This is what it means. This is what it feels like. This is what it looks like when we're disrupting. This is what it looks like when we're avoiding work, when we're avoiding school, when we're avoiding learning. This is what it looks like when we're withdrawing. But then, what does it look like when we're participating? These are the things that it looks like when we participate. And this is what it looks like when we're investing. And this is what it looks like when we're driving our own learning. And her students came to a shared understanding, a shared agreement of what it looks like. What does it look like to move across that continuum of engagement? And so that at the end of each session, she has her students reflect. Where was I today in my level of engagement? Where was I in how much I put forth? And as she did this with her fourth graders, their parents learned about levels of engagement. And this is going to serve her and her students well, no matter what the format of school is. Currently fully remote, with a plan to come back on an A/B schedule, her students still know what it means to engage. And I think one of the lessons learned is we should be really teaching students what it means to engage in learning, what it means to set goals for themselves, what it means to seek out feedback from other people, and what it means to get to use that data to monitor your progress and self-assess.